producers.
Yes.
Why didn't people see it?
Mel Brooks built a career mocking illusion, ego, and excess. But when he spoke about beauty, the irony disappeared. Over the years, he named 6 women he believed were the most beautiful ever, not only for how they looked, but for what they projected. What exactly did he see? Number 1. Marilyn Monroe. Few figures in Hollywood history have embodied contradiction as completely as she did. To Mel Brooks, her beauty was not just luminous, it was layered with fragility, wit, and a kind of emotional transparency that made every close-up feel personal. She seemed both mythic and vulnerable at once, and that tension made her unforgettable. Marilyn Monroe rose to prominence in an era that often demanded polish over honesty. Yet in films like Some Like It Hot, she allowed imperfection to breathe within the glamour. Brooks admired how she balanced playfulness with quiet melancholy, never letting one erase the other. He once reflected that she was radiant and heartbreaking at the same time. That paradox, he believed, was the source of her power.
I think I'm a drinker. I can stop anytime I want to, only I don't want to, especially when I'm blue.
In moments like that entrance, she does not simply appear, she arrives with rhythm. Her comedic timing is instinctive, light on its feet, yet always aware of the emotional undercurrent. Brooks, a lifelong student of comic structure, recognized how rare that balance was. Monroe could invite laughter without surrendering dignity. The humor never diminished her. It revealed her, sharpened her, and made her complexity visible. Beyond comedy, there was an openness in her performances that resisted the safety of distance. In The 7-Year Itch, beneath the famous imagery, there is a flicker of self-awareness, an understanding of how the world sees her, and a quiet negotiation with it. Monroe once said, "I don't mind living in a man's world as long as I can be a woman in it." That statement carries both strength and vulnerability, and Brooks understood the courage it implied.
Oh, do you feel the breeze from the subway? Isn't it delicious?
For Brooks, beauty was never about flawlessness. It was about presence under pressure. Monroe allowed uncertainty to exist within the spotlight. She did not erase it. She transformed it into texture. That willingness to let audiences see the tremor beneath the shine made her more than an icon. It made her human, enduring, and emotionally unforgettable. And for Mel Brooks, humanity is what makes beauty last. Number 2. Elizabeth Taylor. There was a sense of inevitability about her presence, as though the camera naturally bent in her direction. Mel Brooks admired that commanding stillness, the way she could occupy a frame without chasing attention. Her beauty felt monumental rather than delicate, grounded in authority and emotional force instead of fleeting glamour. Elizabeth Taylor's screen image evolved from youthful radiance into something far more complex. In films like Cleopatra and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, she proved that beauty could withstand intensity. Brooks respected that transformation. She did. Not cling to softness, she embraced volatility. He once said she looked like she was carved out of legend. That description was not about perfection, it was about scale and permanence in the public imagination.
I suggest you deliberate further. Perhaps consult with your superior.
In Cleopatra, the spectacle is undeniable. Yet what lingers is not costume or grandeur. It is the assurance in her gaze. Taylor understood how to let silence work for her. She did not rush a moment. Brooks, who built comedy on rhythm and timing, recognized that same control in drama. Commanding a frame without excess requires restraint, and restraint requires confidence cultivated over time. But it was in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf that her authority deepened. Stripped of historical pageantry, she leaned into emotional ferocity. The beauty remained, but it was sharpened by anger, vulnerability, and brutal honesty. Taylor once observed, "I've been through it all, baby. I'm Mother Courage." That defiance, part humor, part resilience, revealed why Brooks admired her. She did not hide behind image. She confronted it directly, even when it fractured.
Oh, she'd never do that. She doesn't play for people.
Brooks understood that true beauty expands under pressure rather than collapsing. Taylor's face could project regality one moment and raw exhaustion the next, and neither felt false. She allowed complexity to exist in full view, trusting the audience to follow her through discomfort. For Mel Brooks, Elizabeth Taylor represented permanence. Not the permanence of myth alone, but of presence, steady, unapologetic, and impossible to ignore. And that kind of beauty does not fade, it endures. Number 3, Sophia Loren. Warmth radiated from her in a way that felt instinctive rather than constructed. What Brooks saw was vitality, strength braided with sensuality, confidence without calculation. She did not appear distant or ornamental. She felt alive inside every scene, her beauty tied to resilience and an undeniable sense of self. Sophia Loren's performances carried an emotional immediacy that resisted polish. In Marriage Italian Style and Two Women, she did not simply portray characters, she inhabited them fully, allowing pride, desire, grief, and humor to coexist without dilution. Brooks admired that emotional fluency. He once described her as earthy and majestic at the same time. That paradox captured exactly what set her apart, blending grounded humanity with cinematic scale.
La tipografia mi ha mandato a chiedere il testo delle partecipazioni.
In moments like that, her face moves before dialogue does. There is intelligence in her stillness, humor in her glance, defiance in the smallest shift of posture. Brooks understood that beauty becomes magnetic when it feels rooted in experience rather than performance. Loren never appeared as though she were asking to be admired. She seemed to exist beyond approval, grounded in instinct and shaped by lived emotion and cultural heritage. Her Academy Award-winning performance in Two Women revealed another dimension, raw endurance beneath elegance. The glamour receded, replaced by unguarded vulnerability. Yet even there, her presence remained commanding. Loren once said, "Nothing makes a woman more beautiful than the belief that she is beautiful." That belief, evident in her posture and gaze, radiated outward without arrogance, carrying quiet conviction rather than display. Brooks valued that authenticity. He recognized that her sensuality was never detached from strength. It was not ornamental, it was expressive, an extension of character, not a mask for it. Loren allowed emotion to surface without apology, whether joy or anguish, pride or defiance, and that openness gave her performances unusual depth. For Mel Brooks, Sophia Loren represented beauty anchored in vitality, not fragile, not distant, not curated, but lived. And beauty that feels lived, he believed, does not diminish with time. It deepens and grows more resonant with memory and lived experience. Number 4, Audrey Hepburn. Elegance in her case never raised its voice. Brooks was drawn to the discipline in her movements, the precision in her expressions. Her beauty did not overwhelm, it refined. There was clarity in her gaze, restraint in her posture, and a quiet magnetism that proved subtlety could be just as powerful as spectacle. Audrey Hepburn's screen presence was built on economy. In Roman Holiday and Breakfast at Tiffany's, she demonstrated how stillness could command as much attention as extravagance. Brooks admired that control. He once observed that she had a face that could whisper and still be heard. That ability to suggest emotion rather than declare it made her performances feel intimate, almost conspiratorial, as if the audience were being invited closer rather than dazzled from a distance.
You should take a little time for yourself.
I could do some of the things I've always wanted.
In Roman Holiday, there is a lightness in her laughter that never tips into exaggeration. Every gesture feels intentional, yet effortless. Brooks understood how rare that balance was. Comedy especially requires rhythm, and Hepburn moved through scenes with quiet timing. She allowed pauses to breathe, trusting the audience to lean in rather than pushing outward for effect or applause. That trust created connection without spectacle. In Breakfast at Tiffany's, her portrayal of Holly Golightly carried both poise and fragility. Beneath the polished exterior was uncertainty, an undercurrent of longing that softened the glamour. Hepburn once said, "Elegance is the only beauty that never fades." That sentiment mirrored what Brooks saw in her. Beauty anchored not in ornament, but in character and emotional intelligence.
Sure he's okay, aren't you, Cat? Poor old cat. Poor slob.
Brooks valued how she never competed with a scene. She tuned it. Her presence adjusted the atmosphere without overwhelming it. Even in silence, she projected intelligence and emotional nuance. There was discipline behind the grace, a performer aware of every frame yet never trapped by it. For Mel Brooks, Audrey Hepburn represented refinement without fragility. She proved that strength could be quiet, that magnetism could be measured. And in a world drawn to spectacle, she showed that the softest gesture can leave the deepest imprint and endure in memory. Number 5. Rita Hayworth. Classic Hollywood glamour often promised mystery, but she mastered it. Brooks admired the composure beneath the allure, the intelligence shaping every glance, every pause. Her beauty was not accidental. It was controlled, deliberate, and fully aware of its effect, turning admiration into something closer to fascination. Rita Hayworth became a defining image of her era, yet what impressed Brooks most was not the image itself, but the discipline behind it. In Gilda, she moved with a precision that felt effortless but was anything but casual. Brooks understood performance as construction, and Hayworth constructed every moment carefully. She once said, "Every man I knew went to bed with Gilda and woke up with me." That awareness of persona versus reality fascinated him and revealed the cost of becoming a symbol.
They said that old Mother Nature was up to her.
In patience. Mystery, he believed, depends on patience. Mystery, he believed, depends on withholding as much as revealing. Hayworth understood suggestion. A lifted eyebrow, a delayed smile. These became tools of narrative control rather than mere decoration. Even in stillness, she shaped the mood of the room. Beyond spectacle, there was resilience in her career. She navigated the machinery of Hollywood without surrendering her composure. The glamour was polished but never hollow. Hayworth once reflected, "You can't be an icon without knowing what people expect of you." That statement reveals the calculation beneath the charm, a performer aware of her myth, yet not consumed by it. She remained present inside the performance rather than disappearing into it.
Put the blame on Maine, boy. Put the blame.
Brooks valued that balance between image and self-possession. Beauty, in his view, was strongest when paired with awareness. Hayworth's allure did not drift into passivity. It carried intention. She guided the audience's gaze rather than surrendering to it, shaping desire into something theatrical and controlled. For Mel Brooks, Rita Hayworth represented the architecture of classic allure, constructed, controlled, and enduring. Her beauty did not simply attract, it orchestrated. And orchestration, when done with intelligence and restraint, transforms glamour into legend. Number 6. Ingrid Bergman. Some faces do more than captivate. They think. What struck Brooks most was the honesty in her expressions, the moral gravity carried in silence. Her beauty felt inseparable from truth, less about ornament and more about clarity. She did not decorate a scene, she deepened it. Ingrid Bergman's performances carried a rare transparency. In Casablanca and Notorious, she revealed emotion without embellishment, allowing doubt, longing, and resolve to surface naturally. Brooks admired that restraint. He once remarked that her face felt like it was thinking. That quality gave her beauty dimension. It suggested interior life rather than surface perfection, inviting the audience to look closer rather than simply admire what was already obvious.
Play it once then, for all time's sake.
I don't know what you mean, Miss Elsa.
In Casablanca, the power of her presence lies in what remains unsaid. A glance toward Humphrey Bogart carries conflict, loyalty, heartbreak, all without theatrical display. Brooks understood that such control requires discipline. Beauty, when paired with intelligence, becomes narrative force. Bergman did not need spectacle. She needed silence, and she trusted it. That trust allowed tension to breathe instead of collapse into melodrama or sentimentality. In Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious, she allowed vulnerability to coexist with strength. The camera lingered on her face, capturing subtle shifts of doubt and courage under pressure. Bergman once said, "Be yourself. The world worships the original." That philosophy reflected what Brooks valued most in her: authenticity unburdened by artifice. She did not attempt to conform to expectation. She allowed complexity to remain visible, even when it made her characters uncomfortable or exposed in ways few performers risked.
Sam, I thought I told you never to play.
Brooks believed that true beauty intensifies under scrutiny rather than fading. Bergman's expressions invited contemplation. They did not demand admiration, they earned it. Her presence shaped the emotional architecture of a scene, grounding even heightened drama in sincerity and quiet moral weight that lingered beyond the final frame. For Mel Brooks, Ingrid Bergman represented clarity of spirit. Her beauty was not ornamental but revelatory, an outward reflection of inner conviction. And conviction, when visible, leaves an imprint that outlives fashion, fame, and even the frame itself, settling into memory as something quietly permanent. When Mel Brooks named the most beautiful women he had ever seen, he was not speaking about perfection. He was remembering presence. Each of these actresses carried something beyond appearance: vulnerability, authority, vitality, resemblement, control, conviction. Together, they reveal how Brooks understood beauty not as symmetry, but as impact, not as surface, but as depth shaped by courage. What connects Marilyn Monroe's fragility, Elizabeth Taylor's command, Sophia Loren's warmth, Audrey Hepburn's restraint, Rita Hayworth's orchestration, and Ingrid Bergman's clarity is not era or style. It is intention. Each woman occupied the frame with awareness. Each turned light into emotion and performance into permanence that still resonates. Because in the end, beauty that lasts is never accidental. It is lived, risked, and revealed. Which of these women defines timeless beauty for you? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more stories that look beyond the spotlight and into the legacy behind it.